Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to the Beacon TVL Show, your source for fun takes analysis here in the world of blockchain and on-chain finance. I am your host, Chris, the DeFi professor. We got a great show lined up for you today as we talk about the news relevant to your dear users here in this wonderful space. I've got a great panelist on deck today. Want to welcome him on, get him on right away just so you can meet him. I have from Stand With Crypto, I have Nebraska State President Logan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me on. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and if you saw last Friday for Beat the Banks, check out that episode. It's on the socials. I interviewed Logan. We talked about Stand With Crypto. What is it as an organization getting together for crypto advocacy? Why it's so important? Definitely go back and check that out. Very brilliant man, this Logan is.
Thank you. And if it's nice, play it twice. So we figured we'd get another interview in here. Plus, there's a lot of big stuff to cover today.
There is. And actually, at the end, we're also going to talk about, if you are local to the Omaha, Lincoln, Council Bluffs area, we're actually having a Stand With Crypto meetup on Saturday. Actually, let's start with that. Let me pull up that right now. We'll bookend it. We'll do both. That way people can actually come and see what's going on here.
What we got here?
Oh, it's upside down. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Woo!
That is that I'm guessing that's a table skirt.
Yes, it's one of the many things in the box over here to the left.
Awesome. Yeah, if you're in the area, if you're local to there, come check us out. Blockchain and Coffee at the Mill, Telegraph. I will be there. Logan will be there, and we're happy to talk shop. See where all of the people, there's thousands of people that apparently have said they stand with crypto in this area. We want to see you there this weekend in Lincoln at the Mill and Telegraph.
Yeah, if you actually stand with crypto, come sit down with us.
I mean, I'll probably stand because I sit all the time. So it is what it is. I do love myself a good networking session. I think this will be a good one. Definitely will be. And it's free coffee. Free coffee. What's better than that? I personally haven't been to the Mill. Have you been to the Mill?
Yes. I love the place. It's got a really nice vibe. It's kind of in central Lincoln. It used to be an old mill.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just interesting. It feels historic in there. It's got a lot of nice space, good lighting, and there's some good people around too.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody, and we'll come back around at the end of the show. So definitely make sure if you're in the area, come and see us. And yeah, we'll have a good time. We'll talk about what it means to stand with crypto. I'm sure Logan will have some brochures or just some material for you. Happy to talk shop and just meet up with people. These IRL connections can be really important, right, Logan?
They are. It's the friends we make along the way.
Always the friends we make along the way.
I really believe that. It's not going to be any individual that, paves the way for the future. It's going to be all of us pushing.
Exactly.
So you get to know people, you shake the right hands, you can join on the right teams, and if you ever wanted to do more, well, your opportunity's right in front of you. It's people. And that's been my experience, not to get all wax philosophical.
Exactly. And I'm really looking forward to it just because it's nice to get out of the house these days.
Right? Restart that social life after COVID. Been too many years of doing work from home.
Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and start what we talk about every week here on the show. We're going to talk about the markets. Right now, the market is starting to rebound.
Yeah.
Fear and greed, it's still at 33. That's kind of interesting given the current geopolitical climate. Ethereum still at 2153. And actually, it's up quite a bit on the last, just in the last 6 hours. We were teetering about possibly losing some ground here. We'll talk about why that's probably happening a little bit in probably about 20 minutes. We'll also check out, so that's the basics right here. Solana hopefully can get back above $100 sometime soon. We'll see. It's going to be up, of course, to Bitcoin, which is always going to be the tide that raises all ships. Looking at the bubbles. There we go.
lot of green bubbles today.
A lot of green bubbles today, sir. We're looking at some interesting. We'll talk about why Algorand is actually up, because it does have something to do with what's going on with the quantum news that we'll talk about in just a little bit. But seeing what's going on here for the week, Algo is by far the biggest one. DEX-E is, if I'm not mistaken, they if this is the same protocol, I don't know that it is. They airdropped most of it to the team, and I would be well.
It's an open
We'll
source
see.
platform for DAO management and social trading.
That's not the same one. Thank goodness. Okay. Chili's up 15 on the week. Interesting. Chili's the longtime fan platform for concerts, for sports and stuff like that. So we'll see. And love to see Ondo. RWA is up. Pax G, which mirrors gold, that's at 5 up. And then even Jupe. Well, welcome back, Jupe. We'll see exactly what happens. So there's a lot of news going on. It's going to lead to a little bit of bidding across the just the entire altcoin cosmos, if you want to call it that. And we'll see exactly what happens. Is there anything here in particular, Logan, based on these bubbles that from a narrative standpoint is interesting to you?
I was seeing if anything was going to jump out at me, and you mentioned that algo pump there is related to some of the quantum news that we had yesterday. So that's speaking to me. I know there's maybe a couple other projects on there that are pumping for the same reason. I'm just kind of going through here.
Yeah, and it overall, I think it's just markets looking up. Everyone's going to start bidding again, and we'll talk a little bit about why that happened. But strangely enough, there's been a lot of noise, specifically with April Fools. It's been hard for me to corral all of them, but I did pick about 5 that were interesting, possibly specifically to our audience. So I'll start with this one. This is Mark Boyron, who is the CEO of Polygon Labs, whereas Sandeep Naliwal is the CEO of Polygon Foundation. They decided to come up with the fun little, we've replaced our CEO with an AI-based CEO. So it's gone from Mark to M.A.R.C, which means Machine Autonomously Running Corporation. I personally would welcome that at Polygon. That's just me personally.
I was talking about creating an AI CEO the other day with one of my buddies. I love this, and it's just a matter of time before this. They shouldn't joke about something so serious.
Well, we've already seen something like there's an AI company that hired a human CMO. So to me, I thought that was wild. I was like, why would you want the human element to be the CMO as opposed to like the COO?
There's a human touch with marketing, like that maybe the AI can't quite wrap its head around it. It has to have someone that has good taste.
That's probably that's probably what it is. But I think it's fun to see that they're looking to shitpost here. What I didn't think was in the best taste was that Hyperbridge decided to talk about them breaching themselves as an April Fool's prank. This didn't hit well, boss. Not good.
That reminds me, my dad used to have a really dark sense of humor, and he'd say stuff like that. Like, your mom's got cancer, April Fools. It's like, man, like, what are you doing?
That's wild.
Dark as heck. That's going to cause an absolute panic.
I know. I mean, to quote the youngins, they would say this is diabolical. This is crazy.
Yeah. Work. Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
my
this
dad
is
would be proud.
Probably.
That's not something to be proud of.
And what's funny is that you're going to get the fudsters coming out and just post. I mean, this is proper backlash, right? Like just seeing that, the fact that they're a bridge, I'm like, this is by far the worst thing they could have ever put out, in my personal opinion. I just thought this was wild. I was like, no, you as a bridge, you really shouldn't have posted this. But hey, they're gonna deal with it. Because
it's not an international holiday.
I know.
There are people.
Oh, that's a good point. That is a very good point.
I did an April Fool's trick while I was in Japan, and I made my manager cry.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't go down well there.
Yeah.
They don't get pranked.
Well,
I mean, they do, but just in a slightly different way.
Noted.
Don't
Yeah,
cry, Chris.
yeah. Well, if I go to Japan, I'm definitely not going to go around April 1st and try and be funny about it. I guess that's just a bad idea. Let that be a lesson to all of you. Let this be a lesson to all of you who are pranksters. And sarcasm is another language that you speak, because you're going to get burned. This is a very good example of this was a very bad idea. But looking at some other ones that they're not all going to be DeFi or crypto related. Elon Musk, who is quite good at the April Fool's pranks, has decided to come out and say the custom orders of the Tesla Model S and X have come to an end. Custom orders, right? So we're talking about like things like the P1D or the Plaid or the 100s, things like that. Now, granted, I'm guessing this is April Fool's, but because most people don't know that this is true, because there are rumors that he's looking to slow down production in places so he can pump out more of these Optimus robots. So, to me, if he says this, I'm like, well, I guess. But, I mean, I can see why you'd get rid of the Y. But the S and the X, honestly, are some of the best-selling vehicles that they own. I personally don't own a Tesla, but I've considered it in the past. I'm a much bigger fan of, like... even though they're not in huge production, the Lucid company. I like Rivian very much. So I've driven a Tesla. They're quite nice.
Opposite problem. The last one that you showed was like way too hardcore. This one's not hard enough. What happened to our prank abilities, guys? Did we forget how to make jokes?
Well, I'm sure there are some good ones out there. Friend of the show, Nikki Sanders, she is very much a TradFi fudder. She decided to say she was pivoting to TradFi, and I thought that was funny. But that was, I haven't seen. I think there's just, it's like you read the room and you're like, is today a good day for April Fool's jokes? Probably not.
It's feeling like one of those April Fool's days where you really got to tread lightly because people are kind of touchy.
Yeah.
This year around this, I don't know what it is. Why everyone. Sensitive all of a sudden.
I mean, we're not like in a world where there's divisive politics or anything like that. The world's at peace right now, right?
There's never been a more peaceful time in history, technically, Chris.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. So this leads
out far enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to zoom out, right? You just have to zoom out and see exactly what's going on. So my personal favorite, though. I think this is apropos. If anything, I'm hoping that this is real. This is from Autism Capital. Shout out to them. In honor of apparently it's been 15 years for Game of Thrones. They're coming out with a reimagined and rebrightened season 8. Which to me...
I basically couldn't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this makes perfect sense. Please, in the comments, if you're watching, light it up if you think that this is probably this is a money making idea. If you're asking my personal opinion, yeah, I mean, there is no reason. Rebrightened, a brightened version of season 8 is a fantastic idea. I fully support the idea that they're going to rebrighten season 8, just because, man, there's just so much about season 8 of Game of Thrones that I get it, but I can see why people who read the material would be very upset. So
I was living in Japan at the time when that came out, and we had a really tiny apartment, and so instead of getting a TV, we had a little projector that we used.
Oh no!
To watch. Yeah, so anyone that's used a projector knows.
Yeah.
Famous. They're not good at making black. It's hard to make black using light projection. So, yeah, it was basically just like a dark, artistic blur of colors, and people going, "Ah!"
Yeah, you hear it, but you're like, I don't know what's happening.
Listening to the people fighting in the dark
exactly.
on the radio.
Well, I do have some things that are actually real, And some of these, and on today's, I have no idea what's real, to be honest. I mean, this could all just be theater, and frankly, half of it is. We'll start with this one. I thought this is interesting.
Right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see me, right?
I'm an AI thing that Logan programmed to be here. He's busy right now playing a game of disc golf outside.
Disc golf, I love it. I love it. Well, this is fairly big news. This is SBI Holdings B2C2 designates Solana as its primary network for institutional stablecoin settlement. For those who are not familiar with SBI Holdings, SBI Holdings is one of the largest Japanese companies, financial companies. So this B2C2 portion, the part that really I thought was quite interesting was really this part. Because they have all of this here. Big thing about SBI, they just pumped $50 million. We talked about this last week on the show, into Startail, which is as a layer 1. Now they already have a layer 2, Startail does, which is called Sonium, which is from Sony. Yes, the Sony has a blockchain, and it's very centralized, but it runs on the OP stack, and it's quite interesting. So the fact that they've now done this part to then designate Solana as the institutional stablecoin settlement layer is interesting.
That blew me away.
Yeah, because they have this, but then the more interesting part is they also provide a lot of settlement for Hidden Road. And for those who are not familiar with who Hidden Road is, Hidden Road was purchased for like $1.4 billion by XRP about 18 months ago. So the fact that even Hidden Road and the companies that are supporting the liquidity won't choose XRPL is a fairly sad state of affairs. I mean, but
SBI's been working with XRP for well over a decade now.
Yeah.
I know I was living in Japan and I was watching this really closely because it was local crypto that I was able to be involved in. Using crypto in Japan was so much better than using it here. Was really when I moved back here. A lot of the problems that we have are artificial. They are created by the system.
Yeah.
I was living off of crypto in Japan, no problem. I moved here and you can't live off of crypto in the US. But in Japan it was...
That's fascinating because they've tried a CBDC pilot multiple times in Japan. So the fact that... Yeah. And obviously that you can pay with all kinds of electronic things in Japan, so it's kind of ingrained in the culture. So that's really interesting.
It's perfect culture for testing it because you put your money onto train cards, and those train cards can pay for everything at all the stores. There's little POS systems. So the thing you use for taking the train is effectively a debit card. Yeah.
It's like a Diners Club card, right? That's like one of the original debit cards here in the United States, Diners Club, which you had American Express, Visa, MasterCard, and then Diners Club, and then now Discover. But regardless, this is interesting news just because they've decided to really not use XRPL, which is fascinating because of how deep the ties are with SBI and the group. So this is really good for Solana, mainly for two reasons. But the quote here is the most interesting part. This is the B2C2 Group CEO Thomas Restout, who says Solana has earned its place as fundamental financial infrastructure. We're supporting real flow here because it delivers on the things that matters to our clients: speed, reliability, and scale. This is where settlement is heading. Again, another damning indictment of XRPL. If we have to keep talking about, people are like XRP is the greatest. Yeah, hold XRP if you want. But the fact that from a money standpoint, from a payment standpoint, no one is using their resources. Guys, this is not a good sign. Not saying that you need to go dump XRP, but I'm just saying my issue with XRP is because they've had the keys to the car for multiple continents for years now, and they have done nothing for it. They could have gone and been the biggest provider of DeFi services in Asia and Africa. They didn't do it. They were so obsessed about getting RLUSD off the ground here in the United States. And to their credit, they've done that. But they've been they lost their seat at the table for a couple of things. They didn't make it into President Trump's own ETF. They chose Crypto.com's Crow instead. over ADA and XRP. Granted, that's knowledge, but regardless, this is an interesting.
Is Solana going to be the new Swift?
Probably not. Just because Swift is partnered with Ethereum through Linea, which is a layer 2 from Consensus. But this shows that Solana, with its upgrades, with its ability to hopefully cut down the failed transactions by another 20% or so, this shows two things. This shows the Solana mindset of lower fees, higher scalability. That's something that Solana. There we go.
Everyone's still here.
Well, thankfully this is recorded locally, so I have no idea why we just stopped. Ugh, that's fine.
It's the Nebraska weather.
It must be. Well, I mean, to be fair, we have multiple places where we restream. So I'll take a quick second to shout out our friends at YouTube, at Twitch, at Twitter, at Zora, at the Arena, and that's really all what we're at right now. We're working on and Rumble, and we're looking on getting back on a couple different spots. But the on-chain media portion for decentralized streaming has kind of decreased a bit. So anyway, huge for Solana. They're getting RWAs. They've got Kalshi. They've got they have Ondo. They have all kinds of institutional things coming onto Solana. This solidifies them as they're not going anywhere. So for people who are like thinking that Solana might be heading to zero, right now, in my opinion, Solana is a value buy at $80 because I've always said $500, $1,000 Solana is definitely on the table this cycle.
I'm sorry. It's going
you don't
to
think
zero.
so?
It's going to zero.
Go ahead. Tell me why.
It's going to zero. Bitcoin's going to zero. Ethereum's going to zero. Ripple's going to zero. They're all going to zero.
You April Foolsing me here?
Partially.
Well, we can certainly talk about it, but either way, the financial system that are migrating here, they'll be using Solana as part of that, and the price of Solana is tied to usage of the network. So we'll see exactly where this goes. But yeah,
I'm just itching for one of the upcoming topics here.
I know.
Validate what I just said, because I never thought I was a Bitcoin's going to zero guy. And,
oh my gosh, we've got it right here, fresh, hot takes. Logan saying everything's going to be going to zero. Obviously, not financial advice. Do your own research.
Not at all. No. I'm just saying it. It's just words and sounds coming out of my mouth.
There we go. So, let's kind of talk. Let's kind of drift a little bit about that, like talking about what actually is real. After talking, God, why did I just say that? Considering Israel is.
You're gonna get demonetized. It's over. You just said Israel.
Oh no. Anyway, there's.
Thank you, Chris.
Today is a big day with regards to news. Now, shout out to Harris here on this. Everyone is talking today. I mean, so President Trump has a big announcement coming.
Yeah.
It's now going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern. So curious to see exactly what this is going to be about. I mean, we all have an idea, but interesting that also a lot of other world leaders are already going to be talking about this. Now, with that said, this is a little bit of propaganda, right? I don't think we're going to see an energy lockdown, but there are multiple countries across the world that are talking about a state of emergency due to not having enough oil. And, maybe they have reliance on the Strait of Hormuz. Like I said, I talked to you about this, off stream, Logan. This could be a very interesting time to see certain neighbors of the United States rise up to become energy brokers and cause a very interesting ripple. Let's be honest, everything that's happening here has ripple effects. The butterfly effect is very real across the world based on all of the, let's just call it chaotic procedures that went into where we are today across the world, right? After some unfortunate violent events, we now have heightened tensions across most of the Middle East. We have curious tensions about what's going to happen now with Russia, with Ukraine, possibly China. Well, China hasn't said anything, but
they are just doing things.
Exactly.
quietly.
Very quietly. But I guess the question is, how can this work with what happens to crypto? So let's. I'll start with this, and I'll get your takes on this. So unrest, volatility, especially in commodities like oil, can lead to a lot of geopolitical consequences, to the point where we could see rate hikes if oil causes enough of an issue where prices have to rise. And we see this unfortunate, I'm not going to say we're going to call it stagflation, but we're looking at some unfortunate economic conditions across the world, especially if there's a supply crunch for oil. Now, there are many countries who are looking towards energy independence and not relying on things like that for certain things. We're just not there yet, regardless of what people say. Even the US is not there yet. I mean, let's be honest. We had to go raid another country in South America and kidnap their leader to get enough oil barrels to replenish the reserve. But to me, I think this is very telling, because we're going to hear, we've already heard multiple different versions of what's going on. We're going to see more of them over the next 12 hours. People saying all kinds of different things from different countries, even from within our own country. My guess is that we're going to, and we're not a political show, so we're not going to talk too deeply into that. But my guess is we're going to get an announcement saying we're pulling out of Iran. There's going to be the Strait of Hormuz is going to be left up to whoever else. And if you want to buy oil, buy it from the U.S. because we're readily available to sell oil to you. And basically, the EU is a bunch of snobs who didn't want to help us, and now they're going to be kicked out of the club. That's what I'm expecting to see today. What do you think, Logan?
Money on that for Polymarket?
You should be able to. You should be able to. Overall, as long as it brings the price of oil down, that should be good for crypto. I mean, that's a roundabout answer just to get to that.
It is.
It is, right? Indirectly. So what are your thoughts on what we're seeing today?
Indirectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And yeah, I'll try to avoid dipping my toe in too much politics here. But we saw some similar stuff happen during COVID where the shipping lanes were shut down and then suddenly the prices of everything went up. It's not just oil ships that are in the Strait of Hormuz right now that are stopped from moving. There are regular old Joes, so to speak, who are
natural gas,
job and move pallets of toilet paper.
Yep,
and they're not moving either. And so those supply shocks take a while to hit. There's like a lagging effect that happened. So we really haven't even seen the worst of this yet.
Nope, Max Payne's coming.
Yeah, Pain Train's on the way. For what it's worth. I'm not saying go out and buy a bunch of peanut butter and toilet paper right now, but it might be wise to keep an eye on this as it unfolds. We are seeing a completely international shock. It's going to affect shipping. It's going to affect, obviously people are seeing the pain at the pump. And we'll see if we can pull out. I wonder if, can you just get into a 4-week conflict, 8-week conflict in the Middle East and leave the same way you walked in? History's not shown that to be true. So we'll see what happens. Wishes and goodwill are one thing, but we'll see what actually happens here in a couple weeks.
I think the telling tale for me was just the non-answer from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, right? Because he was like, it could be 4, 6, 8 weeks, or any number, really. And I was just like, what is that? How do I even...
The fourth horseman of the apocalypse and basically like wishing for it at this point. So
yeah,
again, I'll watch on the politics there, but like literally the dude is praying for death, which is kind of ballast.
Well, we'll see exactly where this goes, but there's plenty of places where you can trade on the volatility in DeFi.
Oh, yeah.
In DeFi, Hyperliquid is at an all-time high. So again, we've talked about altcoins to consider. Hype is definitely one of them because the prediction markets, the trading markets, the perps, they're all going absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And you can take long or short exposure on anything based off of these events. So if you're an accomplished trader or you're just trying to get your feet wet, obviously not financial advice, there's plenty of places in DeFi where you don't have to worry about they're order books, but like centralized order books, and worrying about that. Now, that's outside the scope of our show today, but overall, it's good eating for a lot of people on these platforms, specifically Hyperliquid or other ones like Aster, or even our friends at VDEX, Variational, Avantis. Anywhere you can think of, that's a decent book of different assets and derivatives. There's just plenty of things to do here. So I'm very curious to see where we go from here. But we'll talk about our next. We'll talk about the next big thing here. And this is something I know you have a lot of interest in yourself, Logan. So this is about Google's specific post through their Google AI Quantum Labs that they, they say that this is what they said specifically. They said that this is very much framed in a specific way by CoinDesk, which is, they said that breaking Bitcoin's cryptography may require far fewer qubits than previously thought, with 6.9 million BTC already sitting in wallets where public keys may have been exposed and vulnerable to attack. This is a very important number. Pardon me. Because not all of the BTC that's being talked about here is at risk. It's a very specific number. But I got it wrong. I thought it said 9 hours. It's 9 minutes.
I can elaborate.
I'm pretty sure you can. But I just wanted to shout out Jacob King here real quick for that specifically, to talk about what's going on here. So before I hand it off to you, one of the biggest issues at last year's BTC Vegas were people talking about quantum resistance or creating post-quantum Bitcoin. Ethereum, all other groups already there. One thing and the reason why we didn't quite see that, why we saw the pump with Algorand, is because in this paper, Algorand is one of the most quoted and cited blockchains, because for once, they're on the other side, on the correct side of the post-quantum issue, which, I'll be honest, I didn't think Algorand would ever see themselves in that boat. Shout out to the team. I met them, and I met quite a few people from the team in Denver. Really great team. That's why Algorand is up, because they were mentioned. Oh, they keep going up. They were mentioned a lot in this paper, and suddenly everyone is like, "Oh, Algorand."
Hopping on that boat.
Hopping on that boat, right? So go ahead, Jake. Not Jacob. That's Jacob King. Logan,
yeah,
you talk.
So yeah, this is really interesting. I have to be careful what I say here, because I work in the quantum resistance industry officially. And so I work on one of the projects that is trying to prepare other projects for Q-Day. Q-Day is what Google is talking about here. Q-Day is the day where some random average Joe is able to get access to the quantum computer resources and use them for something nefarious. And so I know some people who have been in this industry, for like 20 years, like right at the start of it. So I'm privy to some information that I'm not even allowed to share legally. It is kind of scary what we are looking at. I think people are underestimating how big this is. Crypto is just the tip of the iceberg. I realize that we're all concerned about blockchain, but there's other cryptography issues in society that are also going to be vulnerable to this that we need to consider. But for the scope of this discussion, I think we focus on crypto. That said, if a public key is exposed, it's a private key now. It can turn every single exposed public key into a private key. Even if it's on a ledger or cold storage, the quantum hacker will be able to effectively become the new owner of your tokens. And the crazy thing is, it's not going to happen in 2029. That's what Google is saying. They're saying, yep, you guys have until 2029. That's not the deadline for when we will be able to hack blockchain. That's Google's warning deadline. The real kicker is they can already hack it. They are not telling you how. They're not going to tell you how. But there are already other people that know how. The only thing stopping them are $40,000, $50,000 to get the H200 required to do it, and the will. That is what is stopping crypto from crashing right now. There's no one evil enough and smart enough to do it. There's smart enough people, there's evil enough people, but we haven't found that Venn diagram crossover yet. But I can tell you that that day's coming. And if you're smart enough and you know enough code, there might already be a way to go steal Satoshi's Bitcoin. It's terrifying. And there's a lot of quantum safe projects out there that are not quantum safe at all. We've done full audits on these guys. And I'm telling you right now that more than 90% of the projects that claim to be quantum safe are not. It's terrifying. They're lying. And unfortunately, in crypto, you can kind of get away with some of that stuff. Whoa. Am I still with you, Chris?
You're still with me.
Okay, cool. So you can get away with lying about this stuff in crypto because none of us know the difference between Starks and Snarks. And we kind of throw this lingo around and we have a loose grasp of what it means. But getting under the hood and being an actual PhD mathematician is hard. You can start to go through some of that, and I can start to explain why quantum computers are able to hack stuff. And we're talking about quantum physics now, though, in a crypto conversation where we're talking about entangled particles across space-time and the actual fundamental nature of reality and blockchain, all in the same sentence. That said, what I can tell you, when I say Bitcoin is going to zero, it is 100% sure. The next version of Bitcoin that might survive would be something like QBTC. It's gonna be a different Bitcoin. They're gonna have to fork or upgrade or switch over. There's going to be a massive migration. Some of it might be automatic, some of it might not be. There's going to be a damn Noah's Ark. There's going to be an entire industry reckoning. A lot of these projects aren't going to make it. They're not going to prepare, or they're not going to be able to. Some blockchains can't be secure. That's the real kicker. And so guess what? We're back at the original days where you were gambling on which one was going to make it. You can get in at the ground floor of some projects now that are going to be absolutely massive once all of the industry starts to go on an exodus, and no one wants to touch any of this crypto because they're afraid it's quantum radioactive. So I'd get ready. I already sold everything. I don't hold any Bitcoin anymore. As of this week, before the announcement, because I knew the announcement was coming.
Not financial advice. Do your own research, by the way.
Yeah, don't listen to me. I'm not a fiduciary. I'm just a random guy in Nebraska. There's no reason to listen to me. I just know tech, and only a little bit. I'm not an actual programmer. I am an artist, and I got into blockchain in 2014. And have been involved in product development and marketing and community building. So I'm not a developer. I'm not going to try to explain why certain blockchains are hackable by quantum and not. I could certainly take a stab at it, but it would be a layman's understanding. I'm not a physicist, but I can also explain to you how quantum entanglement works and things like that. But again, it's going to be a lay understanding, and you shouldn't listen to anything I'm saying. Not even this, which I'm saying right now, which means you should listen to what I'm saying.
And this is not April Fool's, by the way, guys. That's the other part that's like
being normal.
No. I mean, because you could say, "Oh, you guys are just talking April Fools." I'm just like, Actually, no. This was released yesterday. Very interesting point about this, and one thing that I think is fascinating and why uh, ZK proofs and zero knowledge technology is so important is
Yes.
specifically this piece right here. Is and I didn't know this until right before we came on, but Google published this using a zero knowledge proof from Succinct, which is a third party prover application that's used across Optimism, ZK Sync, various other places. To me, third party provers are going to be part of the infrastructure you should be looking into to invest in moving forward, because they're going to be critical to multiple things in this space doing well. Now, the reason why this is interesting that they went ahead and did the proof for this is because the reason why decentralized science actually exists, the ability for people or scientists to post findings without any worry of, I guess, being struck down by governments and whatnot, or just by regimes that are trying to specifically FUD or discredit people.
Suppress knowledge.
Suppressing knowledge. So having the zero knowledge proof here means that what they have said is based true off of their findings. It doesn't necessarily say that the findings are correct, but what they are posting is based off of their knowledge, and it hasn't been manipulated. This is exactly as it is with this zero knowledge proof that you can go and prove on the side to prove its authenticity. So that's why this is important, and that's why, you know, essentially now we're very curious to see where this goes. I thought it's
keep an eye on this. This
exactly.
is going to be the news of crypto probably this year.
And what's interesting is that you're going to be going to BTC Vegas, and the difference in attitude from last year to this year is going to be very, very interesting. I'm curious to know how people are going to feel, because last year people were a little worried about Bitcoin and this quantum issue. I will tell you, and based off the content that I did last year, the number of brick and mortar banks offshore that were here in Vegas last year pushing Bitcoin custody checking accounts, loans. People were offering $1 million loans off of your Bitcoin as collateral. I mean, this year I don't know what we're going to see, to be honest, because it's going to be an interesting conference. So I'm excited for you to go, Logan, and you can kind of report back to us on exactly how people are feeling.
On and tell and give people the inside skinny on what people are talking about there. There's going to be a lot of big names. I have a feeling I'm going to shake at least one big hand and have a story to tell there. I'm really curious, though, to see if the quantum murmurs from a year ago have turned into main stage conversations at this point.
Yeah, in fact, I met a couple of different people. There's shout out to Sergio and the team from Crown Technologies. They're also they were there trying to be ahead of the curve and talking about different types of and I sent the link to you. Ethereum Foundation has a post quantum foundation they've already put up. So yeah, this is if there's anything you take away from this episode, and thank you, Logan, for the great short form content that we'll be posting with the clip about what to talk about. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one because this is a hot issue. And I'm very interested to see exactly what's going on here. So.
And it is interesting that you brought up Ethereum, because right now there's a little bit of a quantum conspiracy growing in this release from Google, because one of the people who co-authored the paper that Google put out is on the Ethereum Foundation.
Huh.
And like, is this a coordinated attack against Bitcoin? And there's already rumors swirling. I don't think there's anything nefarious happening. I do think the quantum threat is very real and more real than what Google said. I think they're trying to not cause a panic.
Yeah, and I think that's why the ZK proof is actually important here, because they're not trying to cause a panic. They're not backed by a specific group. The good news is that there's very few governments and world leaders who have access to this type, or companies that have access to this type of technology. Of course, Google, IBM, and a couple others have these cascading golden upside down wedding cakes of
Golden chandelier.
chandelier. There we go. That's the correct name of different things. The bad news is there's a couple of companies who have access to this technology that can act on it right now. Thankfully, they're credibly neutral actors. Let's hope that they're good actors and credibly neutral. But
there's also virtual quantum computing.
yes, there's also that.
And so if you get some of those really high-powered graphic cards and you start stacking them on top of each other, $42,000 worth, you might be able to do some damage. And you might be able to... I'm not even going to talk about the attack. Actually, I should be careful. I don't want to give anyone bad ideas.
Yeah, we're just gonna say keep an eye on things. I mean, I think
definitely stay apprised of this. This is not a nothing burger.
Right.
I can promise you that. That you can take to the bank.
I am very curious about what's going to happen. This is and this. I just brought up this one comment off of it mainly because this is the other part. Because right now, 2026 is the year of integration. There are multiple groups migrating to this technology, and most of which are probably going to be fine, right? It's all about how quickly can they upgrade that technology that they've just migrated to.
There's a panic, and it's justified, but there's also there's obvious solutions. We have answers.
Yes.
There are problems that not even a quantum computer can crack.
Yep. Exactly. And it's just one.
They can crack anything.
Right.
You would need a quantum computer the size of the moon working for 20 million years.
Right. And because it's really more just about, can it beat the current elliptic curve cryptography, which is, to be fair, very strong. But this is the fact that we're here at this point. It's really just more about the cryptography issue. They'll just move to something better that's probably resistant. It's going to take time, and it's probably going to take changing from where we are. Now, with that said, we've always said from the beginning, we are still in the experimental stage, right? We're early. Things are probably going to change and change quickly.
Yes.
Until we get to where we are in the future state of where we're at. This is going to be a very watershed reflection point, even, on where we were and where we will be. And I'm very curious to see what that looks like. But know that we'll be here to help at least give you an idea of what that looks like, and help at least give you an idea of what you shouldn't be doing. So
at the very least, we can add some light to the darkness so you can see where you're going and make an informed decision.
I'm going to go ahead and end with this before we get to the other part. This is what I wasn't considering or thinking about. So 10 foreign national executives and 4 different cryptocurrency financial services they're being hunted by the DOJ. They've actually already extradited 3 of them, including 2 CEOs, from Singapore to the United States. This is a press release from the DOJ. We can look at that, but we can just check out BSC News. And it's these 4 companies, specifically for crypto market making. Wow. Whoa.
I work with Antier.
Whoa. I just thought they were marketing companies. These are market making companies.
Antier does a lot of stuff. They do a lot of... It's a massive company.
Yeah, they do. All right, now I got to look at this.
Holy crap, I need to go talk to some... Oh, man.
Wow.
I'm seeing this.
Oh, they arrested some people at airports. Okay, so let's...
If I'm not on the show next week, you'll know what happened to me.
Let's just talk about the framing of this, right? So the idea is that they're trying to stop wash trading, market inflation, things like that. Things like what happened on 1010, right? DeFi, I'm not going to say DeFi fixes this, but there's a lot of centralized groups in this industry that have the ability to make or break markets. Let's be very honest about there's not that many market makers in this industry, and there need to be a ton more than the number that we have. because it's not nearly as many as you think. And that is, frankly, a big problem. Regardless, this is very interesting news. Again, we'll be watching. But, all I can say is, I guess, good on the DOJ for going after these guys. And I just hope that we don't see a pardon for any of these individuals from the President of the United States. Because, people are probably fuming about the fact that CZ, the former CEO of Binance, then chairman of Binance, got pardoned for, frankly, what people think is something very similar. We'll see exactly how this kind of looks. But, wow. I know some of these names.
I literally have to go talk to people after this.
Yeah.
To send messages on Slack.
There we go. Well, just know.
My afternoon just got real twisted.
Well, I guess it's a good thing you came on the show then.
Thanks for the news.
You're welcome.
No one else are telling me. Oh my goodness.
We'll see exactly what the ripple effects are, but the fact that they've gone and arrested multiple people from multiple countries and extradited in the United States, we'll see exactly how this kind of rolls, right? There's always good two sides of the coin, and there's the judicial side, but then there's also the non-sovereign side. So these are all centralized authorities. These should probably be something that will happen. But in the event that you're in a situation where you have non-sovereign issues, what happens then? Again, that's for another day, but just some food for thought. Real quick before we head back to talking about Stand with Crypto, just want to talk about the mothership. Thanks again, Logan, for being here today with us. And if you want to learn more about everything we talked today, if you found good value, please like, follow, subscribe. Looking to hit some milestones here. Check out our free group, Total Value Locked. This is where you can go to get free introductory material on how to become a competent investor in the world of decentralized finance, blockchains, on-chain finance, safely and securely. Check out our Start Here post. Get a message from myself and our CEO, Andrew, and learn more about our offerings. We have multiple free offerings, but we also have some paid offerings if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring. If you want to, get the best rates in DeFi every week, we have offerings for that. We want to thank our Beacon Mastermind founding members as well as our current members, all of our Beacon challengers and on Spotlight subscribers for helping make what we do possible. With that said, also want to talk about a group that I'm very proud to be interacting with, and that is Stand with Crypto. We talked about that last Friday. Standwithcrypto.org. This is a great advocacy group that definitely want to definitely put some shine on. Logan is the Nebraska chapter president. And any quick words you want to say about working with Stand with Crypto, Logan?
Oh, it's been wonderful. They're helping me go to Bitcoin Vegas, actually. So thanks, Stand with Crypto. But also, they're giving me an opportunity to use my knowledge and my voice to push this agenda forward. Not just for me. It is something I'm interested in personally, but for everyone else. I want to fight for people. And so Stand with Crypto has given me the gloves. And so now I'm going to be holding events once monthly here in Nebraska, alternating between Omaha and Lincoln. We're at events all over the place, and if you're interested in fighting for crypto, we'd be happy to have you on the team. I know we can get you in touch with Chris. He's basically a captain, the king of Omaha. And so if you want to get in touch, if you want to get your hand on the ball, we invite you to come play.
Wonderful. And yeah, if you want to stand with crypto, regardless of where you are in the United States, head to the website, Stand with Crypto, and be amongst all the many wonderful people already. Looks like we've got, there's 3.6 million global crypto advocates, but specifically in this country, we have 2.8 million, which is a fantastic number. So, check it out. And there's, check out the show from last Friday. We also talked about a couple other ways you can also be an advocate for crypto and other organizations to check out. And if you're going to be in the Omaha, Lincoln, Council Bluffs area, come over to Lincoln at the Mill on Saturday from April 4th. On April 4th from 1 to 2 p.m. For the first Stand With Crypto Nebraska event, there's a QR code here that you can scan with your phone right here if you want to go ahead and get your tickets through Eventbrite. And we'll also put the link in the comments for this post that's going out today. So, yeah, I'll be there. I'm excited to be there. Excited to stand shoulder to shoulder with the President Logan himself.
I'm excited to chat. We've got a lot to talk about. A lot more than I expected, actually, just because of the news recently and some of the legislation that's been going through. I want to talk to people about Clarity and Genius Act a little bit and what some of the ins and outs are, and then some of, what the legislators in Nebraska are doing. There's over 9,000 people on the Stand With Crypto list in Nebraska. So if you're in Nebraska and you can hear me, and you're one of the few crypto people and you feel all alone, you are not.
You are not.
There are. And so and we'll probably be talking about even more than crypto. Tech is going to get involved. I started shooting my mouth off about quantum stuff. I have a feeling I'm going to have to explain some of it on site.
Well, we still have AI. We still have all kinds of different industries that are working, with crypto or blockchain rails, period. So digital assets is a thing, and everyone needs access to it. So come see us this weekend. Blockchain's going to be everywhere.
And give me a follow on Crypto Logan on Twitter. And just change out the O's with the zeros.
We will put that in the comments as well. Please follow Logan. It's been great having you here, sir. Thank you so much for your time. And we do this show every week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We've been doing this. I'm glad to have you, Ben. Anytime. We've been doing this show every Wednesday since December of 2021. Check out our Friday community training called Beat the Banks. We've been doing that since January 20 of 22. Every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, here on these same channels. So, again, follow Logan, follow Stand With Crypto, and hopefully we see you this weekend if you're in the area. Otherwise, be smart, make good decisions, and as we say on the show, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.